Judas Iscariot is an enigmatic and controversial figure in Christian tradition. Known primarily for his role in the betrayal of Jesus Christ, he was one of the 12 apostles chosen by Jesus and is mentioned in all 4 Gospels of the New Testament. Judas' story is marked by complex aspects of loyalty, ambition, remorse, and, for many, represents one of the greatest tragedies and moral dilemmas in Christianity. Origins of Judas and his call as an apostle. Little is known about Judas' origins before he was called by Jesus. In the Gospel of Matthew, he is identified as Iscariot, which likely indicates that he was from Iscariot, a town in the region of Judea. This Judean origin distinguishes Judas from the other disciples, who were mostly Galileans. He joined Jesus and his followers during Jesus' ministry, and throughout the Gospels, Judas actively participated in the group's activities, serving as the treasurer, showing the trust Jesus placed in him. Judas' role among the disciples. During Jesus' ministry, Judas was, at least ostensibly, a devoted apostle. However, the Gospels also suggest aspects of his personality that set him apart from the other disciples. He is depicted as a more pragmatic figure, possibly more focused on financial matters. At times, Judas criticized what he viewed as excessive spending, such as when Mary, the sister of Lazarus, anointed Jesus' feet with expensive perfume. Judas objected, arguing that the perfume could be sold to raise money for the poor. The Gospel of John, however, suggests that Judas had a selfish motive, as he was stealing from the group's finances. The act of betrayal. Judas' betrayal is one of the most dramatic and symbolic scenes in the Gospels. According to the accounts, Judas agreed to betray Jesus in exchange for 30 pieces of silver from the Jewish religious leaders. This sum is often interpreted as a symbolic and insulting payment. Judas led soldiers to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus was praying, and identified him with a kiss, a gesture of affection that became a symbol of betrayal. In the Gospel of Matthew, it is recounted that after Jesus' arrest, Judas was consumed by remorse. He attempted to return the silver pieces to the priests, but they refused. Judas, in despair, threw the silver into the temple and then, according to Matthew, hanged himself. The book of Acts, however, gives a different account of his death, stating that Judas bought a field with the money but suffered a fatal fall there. This field, known as the Field of Blood, became a symbolic location of his betrayal. Theological interpretations of Judas. The figure of Judas defies simple interpretations and presents deep dilemmas. His betrayal is seen as a premeditated and cruel act, but some theologians argue that, paradoxically, he played an essential role in the divine plan. Without the betrayal, the crucifixion of Jesus, viewed as the necessary sacrifice for the redemption of sins, would not have occurred. Thus, Judas becomes a tragic character, condemned yet indispensable for the fulfillment of messianic prophecies. Some theologians also question Judas' free will. If Jesus knew that Judas would betray him, did Judas truly have a choice? Others argue that his betrayal might have been motivated by political visions, believing that by forcing Jesus' arrest, he might encourage a display of messianic power, hoping for a revolt against Roman rule. The Gospel of Judas. In 2006, an ancient apocryphal text known as the Gospel of Judas was released. This text, found in a Coptic manuscript from the 3rd or 4th century, portrays Judas in a different light. It presents Judas as an intimate collaborator of Jesus, acting under direct instructions to help fulfill the divine mission. In this gospel, Jesus tells Judas that he is the only apostle who understands the true spiritual nature of his mission, and that the betrayal is, in fact, a way to help Jesus transcend his human form. This interpretation presents Judas as an active and aware agent of redemption but differs from Orthodox Christian beliefs and is not accepted by the Church. Symbolism and legacy of Judas. Judas is laden with symbolism and prompts reflections on the nature of evil, forgiveness, and destiny. In Christian tradition, he becomes an archetype of the traitor, and the name Judas becomes synonymous with disloyalty and deception. Over the centuries, Judas' story has also been a theme in various works of art, literature, theater, and film, where he is portrayed as a multifaceted figure, sometimes even a sympathetic one. On the other hand, Judas' role raises theological questions about repentance and redemption. Some modern interpretations suggest that Judas was punished disproportionately, pointing out that he repented and tried to make amends for his error. These discussions raise questions about the limits of forgiveness and how the Christian tradition might have treated Judas differently. Judas in popular culture and other religious traditions. The complexity of Judas makes him a widely explored figure in popular culture. In works like the musical Jesus Christ Superstar by Andrew Lloyd Webber, Judas is depicted as a tragic figure, torn between his admiration for Jesus and his concern for his people's future. The play presents a more human version of Judas, exploring his doubts and despair. In Islamic traditions, Judas also appears differently. According to some Islamic texts, Jesus was not crucified. Instead, Allah raised him to heaven, and someone resembling Jesus, possibly Judas, was crucified in his place. This version demonstrates the diversity of interpretations regarding Judas' role in different cultures and religions. Reflections on Judas in modern Christianity. Judas remains one of Christianity's most challenging figures. Many modern scholars see his story as a reminder of moral complexities and the power of individual decisions, while theologians emphasize the symbolic and spiritual character of his betrayal. Ultimately, Judas' story invites deep reflection on the nature of good and evil, redemption, and human responsibility. Whether as a traitor or as an unwitting instrument of a divine purpose, Judas Iscariot leaves a lasting legacy and continues to spark debates and reflections. He is a character who, even 2,000 years after the events he was involved in, remains shrouded in mystery and various interpretations. His story serves as a reminder of the cost of betrayal, but also of the possibility of repentance and the complexity of moral decisions in any spiritual path.